All right, everybody, it is Grades from the Couch, and for the first time since the debut of this show, the Vikings lost a game. And I'm not trying to be any sort of way, but the Vikings have won every game that we've done this show. And then we don't do it last week because I was having some internet problems, and they lose. What does it mean? I don't know. You tell me what it means. Well, I guess last week was the bye week. The week before that was my internet issues. But either way, you tell me what it means, Josh. Did we jinx the Vikings? Are we the reason they lost?
I didn't do anything. You, however, may have jinxed them because you couldn't do the show because you got poopy internet. So don't try and drag me and wrangle me into your, you know, reason for the Vikings not going 17-0 and winning the Super Bowl.
A few weeks
That's on
ago,
you.
Will had some issues with his internet and just straight up called out whatever internet service provider he uses. So we're not making funs here. I'm just gonna say this: Spectrum makes really crappy equipment. Because where it screws in, it just came out. I mean, it was a whole thing, but we don't have to go into that here. This is Grades from the Couch. This is the show where I, Jordan Hawthorne, give my guest, esteemed colleague, and birthday boy today, Josh Hawthorne, three players from each side of the ball, and he assigns them letter grades A plus through F minus. And this show has, look, I think it's fun, but it's kind of sucked because every week we've been just boat racing people, and it's been A and B plus and a B minus. Ooh, that's a tough grade. We got some real grades to give out. We got some discipline to dish out to the Vikings tonight, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. So we will stout on the offensive side of the ball to throw you because I told you that I had a surprise for you, and we're gonna stout there. We're gonna stout with Ed Ingram, whose job may not even exist Thursday night against the Los Angeles Rams. Josh, what letter grade do you give to Ed Ingram?
F.
Dang.
F.
Is that the first
Failure.
F?
That's the first F. F. He might as well been Swiss cheese. Just letting them run right through him. He couldn't do anything, couldn't block anything. Anytime there was pressure on Darnold, it was coming from Ed Ingram's side like F. It's an F. It's the first one of the year. Might be the only one of the year. But he he was Swiss cheese. He was just letting them right through. So it like you said, and like Dad mentioned, it won't surprise me if Reisner's playing Thursday night. That won't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock anybody in our family at all. So I don't think Ingram had a good game. It was a really bad game to hoop the bed. Detroit is. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but Detroit is kind of the class of the NFC right now. With their offense and their defense and Dan Campbell, and they were in the NFC Championship game last year. I can't believe I'm saying that after watching that team go 0-16 some years. But that's the class of the NFC, and you had them down 10-0 early, had all the momentum in the game, and then Ed Ingram starts pulling his shenanigans out, and all of a sudden Detroit's right back in the game. But now Ed Ingram didn't give up. Ed Ingram didn't throw the pick. Ed Ingram didn't let the offense of Detroit go up and down the field, but for what he has to do and what his job is to do, he gets an F from yesterday.
That is history, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first time we've handed out an F, and I agree with you. I think Ingram, offensive line, like you said, he's not going to throw a pick. He didn't have one of those days where it was like, wow, Ed Ingram gave up 5 sacks and is the direct result that they lost. He just played badly, and he's played badly all season. So, that is what it is. Let's move to Sam, who has 1 touchdown in the last 10 quarters of football. Kind of the magic carpet ride, maybe coming down a bit. I still think he played okay. I have an idea for what I would give him, but I'm curious to see what you give Dick Hamill's grandchild. Josh, what does Sam get?
I'm gonna give Sam a I'm gonna give him a C plus. I don't think he did. He was above average, and letter grade C is like your average, right? Like you didn't fail, but you weren't excellent either. Really, really bad interception. did not layer the ball the way that he should have on to Addison on that corner route. Um, just completely underthrew it. Really key moment to turn the ball over there. I think Detroit on that next possession went right down the field and scored a touchdown to extend the
Yes, they
lead.
did.
Um, but he also had some good throws. The Jefferson touchdown. I don't put too much stock in one touchdown in 10 quarters or whatever it may be because we've seen him go off and throw two or three in a quarter before. So I don't really put too much stock into that. And Aaron Jones busted like a 35, 40-yard rush for the first touchdown after the fake punt. Um, so yeah, I give him a C plus. I don't think he cost the Vikings the game per se, although he did have an overthrow on the 2 minute 2 minute 6 second drive, whatever it was, where if they converted a first down there, they pretty much could have drained the clock down. And he overthrew Jets. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have a terrible game. I give him a C plus.
Yeah, I agree with you. Continue talking about Sam for like 2 more minutes.
Okay. Well, filler time here. Yeah, he had some good throws. I don't know what he finished the day at passing yards wise. I had him in fantasy, started him in fantasy. Uh, he finished 22 of 27 for 259, a tud and a pick. 46.2 QBR, 103.5 rating. Like he had a really good game, but the the interception was timely. That was just a terrible time to throw a pick. The Jefferson touchdown, I mean, I don't know if he throws that ball to anybody else besides Justin Jefferson or like Jamar Chase in the NFL that somebody makes that catch. Um, he had a decent game, but I know we don't grade on a curve or on a scale, but from what I've seen thus far of Sam Darnold this year to what I saw against arguably one of the worst secondaries in the league in Detroit, it's a C plus game for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for venting there. We had a bit of a meltdown happen. June fell and hit her head on my chair. So yeah, she's fine because I know Dad's gonna watch this and he's gonna immediately panic, and I'll probably get a phone call. But yeah, look, I was thinking C to C plus. You could argue maybe putting a C minus on there, but I'm not gonna sit here and fight you. What really irked me was that last throw that he made. I guess it wasn't his last throw, but on the second to last drive of the game
it was essentially the last throw, like when they could have sealed the game.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, that first down alone wasn't going to do it. We would have had to get 2, probably 3 first downs to put that game away. But
no, if they got that first down with 2 minutes to go, the clock would have ran to the 2 minute warning. Detroit would have had to start using timeouts. We were 1 first down away from winning the game.
Yeah, so I mean, it was. Yeah,
after that, if
you
he
want to see that
if he converted that pass to Jefferson, he had 5 incompletions on the day. 5. That's it. He was 22 of 27. One of them was a pick. One of them was the incompletion to seal the game. That's almost half his incompletion right there.
Yeah.
Look, I don't expect anybody to go out there and throw 25 for 25. That's just not realistic in the NFL. You're playing against the best defensive backs, the best linemen, the best linebackers, like in football. American football. Those are the best of the best.
Yeah.
You can't expect somebody to go out there and go 25 for 25. It was just very untimely. If he threw a pick and we were up 10-0 and he throws a pick and Detroit goes down and scores the touchdown, okay, it's 10-7. Like, you still have the lead. When Detroit already has the lead and you need to put a drive together and you need to march down the field and put a score up on the board.
Yeah, get that momentum.
And get the momentum in the game. That was like mid-third. Was that the third quarter? No, I think that was second quarter, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the second quarter.
He throws a pick. Detroit gets the ball back, goes right down the field and scores another touchdown. Again, he's not out there playing defense to stop Detroit. But that gave Detroit even more momentum to continue, and then a bigger hole for the Vikings. If Darnold doesn't throw that pick and the Vikings go score a touchdown, who's to say that the Ivan Pace scoop and score isn't putting the Vikings up by 10 with 3 minutes to go.
Right.
And the Vikings are up 2 scores now, and Detroit has to score twice with 2 timeouts and sub 5 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and everything changes. it's like Lions fans today are, kind of saying like, oh, that game wasn't even close. That fumble was fugazi, blah blah blah, and it's like, what? Like no, we're not gonna play the if this then that game. The fumble gave us a lead. We were
And the pick
winning.
gave the Lions a bigger lead. So,
We
like,
were
okay,
winning
let's
with like
eliminate the
16.
turnovers.
Yeah, we were winning the game with 18 seconds to go, and then they kicked the field goal. And it is what it is. In that regard, but all right, now we get to the important one because you said, why are we grading this guy? Because he didn't do a lot, right? He barely saw the field, in all honesty. But it's because it presents an interesting question because we are about 2 weeks away from the NFL trade deadline. So, what letter grade do you give to Ty Chandler?
D. Well, that's not fair. It's not fair to give him a D. I don't know that you can give him a grade. He had like 2 rushing attempts. Like, why was he not being used? He had 2 carries for 4 yards. Why? Why did he only have 2 touches? Because Aaron Jones had 14 for 93. Like a
Yep.
solid day from Aaron Jones. Now, mind you, about half of that was on one run. But like
I think a
the
big part
Viking
of it was the game got away from Minnesota. So when you're
correct, and they had to
down two
throw.
possessions, and
Correct.
once you start throwing, it leads to why I think I agree with your D. You initially said D, and I agree with that. Chandler still cannot pass protect well. I think he had a holding in this game when he was in there to pass protect. And it leads me to this question. Because this
Okay.
one's mainly just I wanted to talk about this, and I didn't think me and Will were going to get to it on the regular show. Would you be intrigued for trading for Alvin Kamara?
I knew when you said you had a spin on this before we hit record, I literally almost said you're gonna bring up a trade potential for Alvin Kamara, aren't you?
It's exactly what I'm doing. Either him,
And
ETN, maybe Chuba Hubbard. He might be on the market in Carolina. Like there's a few guys out there that could be good 1B to Aaron Jones.
um I would want to see what you would have to give up for Kamara. If you could get Kamara for like a third, fourth,
What did the
maybe
Jets give up for Devontae Adams?
a third.
A third? Would you
I
do it for a
think they give up
third?
a third. I'd probably go Kamara for a third. With Aaron Jones' injury, his issues and history, Aaron Jones is on a 1 year deal. If you could get Kamara, a premier receiving back, a a breakaway speed kind of back, he's not a bruiser like AP. Um, I'd give up a third for Kamara, and then you could have an Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson coming back.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, that's another weapon that they could use. Yeah, I could
And he
see a
would
lot
be.
more. He's a better pass. Like I don't know how great he is at pass protection, but he's been a starting back in the league for feels like 10 years. I know that's probably an
Yeah, what
overreach,
was it,
but
like 17, I think was his rookie year?
so 7 years he's been in the league. I'd give up a third for Kamara in a
Right?
heartbeat.
That's the problem is I think the
Unfortunately, I
Vikings.
think
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, I think there are more teams that need more running back help than the Vikings, and they could get more for Kamara. Someone like Dallas needs a running back. Um,
But
someone
Dallas
like
doesn't have the money to pay him because there's a contract that comes with Alvin
so.
Kamara.
Then okay, let's play the what if game, and let's say the Vikings trade a third for Kamara. Do you re-sign Aaron Jones next year, or do you re-sign Kamara?
If Kamara's contract is up at the end of the year, you probably bring Kamara back because I believe they might be the same age, dude. Like they're very similar in age.
Who?
Kamara
Kamara and
and
Jones.
yeah, I think Kamara's younger. You're gonna do the research now, but it would like a lot that would play into this would be how they perform throughout the year. But you have to, I think, and look, the Saints have been boo boo for a few seasons now, so Kamara's kind of gotten swept under the rug as like how good he is.
They're the
So I
same
think
age.
I think he's had some injury issues too. But like, I mean, do you try to bring them both back? Like the money's there, and like,
I'm looking to see if Kamara what his contract is right now.
and it, my
Alvin
uh,
Kamara is in the final 2 years of his 5-year, $75 million contract extension.
so you would have him for one season basically next year,
His
which maybe
season
he
next
wants
year,
an extension.
his base salary next year is $22.4 million. His cap hits 29 million.
That's really gross. Okay. So you restructure him, but I'm just saying, Kamara is an interesting guy. The
It's
Saints
an
are what,
interesting
two and
spin on things.
five
Yeah, they won their
at
first
this
two
point?
games and have lost 5 straight.
Yeah, like they looked unstoppable, and now they look
There's gonna
very
be a fire.
stoppable.
There's gonna be a fire sale in New Orleans.
I agree.
Kamara, I think they get rid of him. I think they get rid of
Latimo.
Lattimore. I think he
I'd rather
goes.
have Latimo.
I would too, but I think Lattimore goes. I think Kamara goes. I think there's one or two pieces that aren't touchable in New Orleans. I think there's one, and his name's Chris Olave, and I think anybody else
Yeah, up
is
for
up for
grabs.
grabs.
I
I
don't
would
think
say
they'd get rid of
Shaheed, but
Shaheed. Yeah, I think
well, he's
they'd
on the
keep those.
IR, so
Yeah, they'd keep their young receivers and it's. I mean, they're gonna have to detonate at some
is
point.
Derek
But
Carr on the trade market?
yeah, absolutely. If somebody wants him, I mean, the problem is he's out, and who wants him? You know, like
I
who's.
can guarantee you a Tennessee would like to have him.
But like, is Tennessee gonna make that trade where they're at now? You know what I mean? Like the what two? They're
Probably
also
not.
2-5
Okay,
or
what
2-4.
about Miami?
Two is coming back next week.
Okay, for what? 2 plays till he gets another concussion? This is a Viking show. This isn't an NFL show.
No,
Okay,
okay,
this
you're
is
right. You're
grades
right.
from the couch. Reel
But
it in, Chief.
we did have the much needed discussion of trading for a running back, which I think the
It would
Vikings
be
should be
interesting.
doing.
It
It would
would
be
be
very
interesting,
interesting.
and I think Kwesi has a conversation with the Saints GM about what's the asking
Yeah,
price, and I would also want to have a conversation with Aaron Jones about look, we see what Detroit is, we see what two-headed monsters they have in the backfield, and what weapons they have at receiver. I mean, if our offensive line was a little better, I mean, Detroit's Detroit's offense and Minnesota's offense could almost be identical. Like
yeah,
you have your power back in Aaron Jones, and then you have your speedster in Kamara. You have weapons on the outside. I'm by no means saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown is in the same league as Justin Jefferson, but like your receiving core is better. Maybe their running back core is better. If your line was just a little bit better, like those two teams look a lot alike.
yeah. No, I agree with you. So, all right, let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. This one won't be as exciting because we don't have interesting, fun trades to talk about. But we will start on the pass rushing defensive line aspect, and we will start with Jonathan Grenard. I believe I think he had a first fumble, but Goff fell on it. So like it wasn't. But
Was he credited with that?
I think he was, but it might have been Ginkle. I don't know. You're the guy who has the stats and stuff up. But let's start with John Grenard, who's having a pretty solid first season in Minnesota, and I'm happy with that signing. What grade do you give him?
Well, if my computer would click on this, I could give you. If I click on the Texans game one more time, I'm going to lose my marbles. Lions. That's the game we want, and we want team stats. No, we want box score. Defense. Grenard. What did he finish with? He had 4 total tackles, 2 solo. He had 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 hit on the quarterback. Was it Grenard or was it? I think it was Grenard that came around the end, and he was like an inch from
Oh
grabbing the
yeah,
ball.
yep,
He
it was
was an
Grenard.
inch. He was an inch from knocking the ball out. Let's go with the grade. I'm gonna give Grenard a B plus. I think he had a good game. He forced 1 fumble with the sack. The ball just happened to bounce right back into Jared Goff's lap. If that ball bounces, it's a game of inches, and if that ball bounces an inch a different way, the ball skips out. Somebody may have scooped it. We could have had 2 defensive touchdowns that game, and you had a chance in fantasy, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I give him a B. I think he did well. he didn't just show up and collect a paycheck. You didn't hear him get, his name was mentioned a few times. He almost had a strip sack. Almost, I know, doesn't really count for much, but he pressured Goff, and then he ended up with the sack that, again, just bounced right back up in
Yeah.
Goff's lap. That could have been a big, because I think they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. On that play, they made a pretty
Yeah, it
substantial.
was a big one to Patrick.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
All right, I agree with you, and we'll breeze past this because I do have one more little game that I want to spring on you really quick. So we'll do Ivan Pace next. Quiet day for Pace until he got a touchdown to give us the lead. What grade do you give to Ivan the Terrible?
B. He didn't have a
Yeah,
boneheaded blame. He didn't punch anybody in the face, and almost cost us a turnover. He's quick. He's a shifty little guy for what he is. But yeah, I give him a B. That touchdown there at the end of the game, the scoop and score, was a big momentum shift. Would have loved to have converted that 2 point conversion to make it three, but nonetheless, I give him a B. I think he had a solid game.
awesome, awesome. And then we will go with Biomania, who had one of the worst games I can remember from a Vikings defensive back. Tough look for Byron Murphy. What grade are we giving him?
I need to see what his total stats were. He only had 2 tackles.
Let it be known
You
that
know,
he gave up like 2 touchdowns.
he didn't have any interceptions. Um, D minus.
Yeah.
Not a good game. Just anytime you saw his name, anytime you saw Murphy, you saw the back of his jersey, and that's never a good sign when you're playing defense because that means you're getting burnt. Um, yeah, I don't think he had a very good game. He was just constantly getting torched. Like you said, he gave up 2 touchdowns. Tough assignment. Detroit's got a good receiving core. Tough assignment, but sometimes you got to lock it up. And as Xavier Rhodes used to say, roads closed, and those roads were wide open yesterday. So
Yeah.
a D minus for me.
All right. Well, that concludes the grades portion. We're now going to play the game that I wanted to play with you during the bye week that my internet wouldn't let me play. All right. I'm going to ask you a question. You respond in 10 words or less. Okay? I'm going to count
10
them.
words or less. Okay.
All right? Like a sentence or two, but like don't give like
Okay.
long, lengthy
Okay.
explanation. Okay?
Okay. Is it one
I'll,
question?
it is, well, it's going to be a series of questions, and you'll
Do I
respond to
get
each
10
one.
words combined or just 10 words per question?
10 words per question.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are the Vikings better than the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, yeah. I
All
don't
right.
think it's close. There you
Are
go.
the Vikings better than the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Absolutely. And I don't think it's close.
Are the Vikings better than the Houston Texans?
We've already played the Houston Texans and we saw how that turned out.
Do you think we are a consistently better team? Like, do you think Vanderbilt's better than Bama because they beat them?
No. No.
So, like, do you think we are a consistently better team than Houston?
Yes.
I tend to agree with you, though. And then finishing out the AFC, are the Vikings better than the Chiefs?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And because I only have 10 words, I can't really answer, but I'm going to say no to the Chiefs question.
Well, you can answer. Like I said, like just
Okay,
keep it
now
to
I
like
can answer. Okay.
okay, all right.
So the Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions. They have arguably one of the, if not the greatest quarterback in the history of the National Football League. Travis Kelce's a first ballot Hall of Famer. They don't have their number 1 or number 2 wide receivers, and they're still undefeated. They don't play in the best division in football, but I don't know that Minnesota is better than Kansas City. You can't just have a 5-0 start or a 5-1 start and say, "Oh, we're better than the Chiefs." Oh. The Chiefs,
Yeah, that's fine.
have they played anybody that really is? Have they played a Detroit? Who have they beat so far?
The best win is like Baltimore. They beat. I I mean, they beat
They
San
beat
Fran, but
Baltimore.
San Fran's
They
beat
beat
up.
Baltimore. They beat Cincinnati. They beat San Francisco.
They beat who are the
The
ones?
Chargers.
They did beat. They did beat the Chargers. Who? Yeah, dude. Who the hell have they
It
played?
was their last game because they're five. They're 6-0.
Oh, they beat the Falcons.
Okay, they beat the Falcons, so there's five.
There's one more in there somewhere. I don't know who it is. It's not the.
Hang
It's
on.
not a
It's
division.
gonna bother me now if I don't see it.
Is it?
So it is. I just need to check it. Hang
You're
on.
good. Um,
They beat the Ravens, the Bengals, the Falcons, the Chargers, the Saints, and the 49ers.
the Saints. That was the one we were missing.
They were a toe away from not losing to the Ravens. They were one bad call away from losing to the Bengals. They were another bad call away from losing to the Falcons. Um, I'll give them the win against the Chargers. I'll give them a win against the Saints, even though Carr was out. And then I'll give them their win against the 49ers. But, like, Debo was out. McCaffrey was out. Ayuk got hurt.
Yeah, they're missing the
Well,
entire offense.
you play you play who's on your schedule. You're
Agreed.
6-0. They're the last team that's undefeated. They're the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. You can't say the Vikings are better than the Chiefs. The Vikings play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and the Vikings win. The Vikings are better than the Chiefs, and we can come back to this and have that
Yeah.
conversation. But until you don't get that top dog until you beat the top dog. So
Yeah. Oh, the top dog actually has a seizure
Patrick-
and dies.
I'll tell you this:
Because-
if Patrick Mahomes goes out and blows his ACL out tomorrow, the Vikings are better than the Chiefs.
Well, if the
But-
defense starts looking bad, but they look like such a complete team. All right, we have to do this with the NFC. So, are they better than the Commandos?
I think so.
I think it's very close, but I do think the Vikings would edge them out just
I think
because the
their
Commandos
defense.
have a
I think
rookie
the
QB.
I think the defense is better for the Vikings, and I think the Vikings are more well-rounded than the Commanders as far as offense goes as well.
That is very fair. Are we better than the Seattle Seahawks?
Absolutely, they're dog shit.
All right. Are we better than Tampa Bay? Oh, Atlanta. Right now, I think Tampa Bay is technically winning that division, but either one of those teams.
Yes,
Both of them?
both.
Okay.
Combine
I'll
them, we're
agree with you.
better.
Are the Vikings better than the Lions?
I think they're 1A, 1B. I think the
Wow.
game that we I think the game that we watched yesterday is the NFC Championship game, or depending on how the bracket works out, it is the divisional round. And if they meet in the divisional round, whoever wins that game is going to the Super Bowl. If they meet in the divisional round and one moves to the championship, whoever wins that game between the two, if everybody stays healthy,
So, health pending, you think one of these two teams is going to the Super Bowl?
correct. I think the
All right.
Vikings or the Lions. Again, if Justin Jefferson goes out and gets hurt, the Vikings are cooked. They're done.
Yeah.
If Jefferson and if everybody stays healthy, even for the Lions, if everybody stays healthy and they don't lose Amon-Ra St. Brown or
Right.
Jared
right.
Goff, I think the game that we watched yesterday would be the NFC Championship. Up to this point in the year, I think that's the NFC Championship game.
Well,
And if
look, what 7 weeks in, that was the two best NFC teams, and I think it was head and shoulders above anybody else. I mean, Seattle just doesn't seem to be on that level. The Commandos are fun and would be cool to see them go to that level, but they have a rookie QB, and rookie QBs typically don't do it in late January. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and now that Jaden Daniels is dealing with a rib injury, those linger. Those don't just
they do.
those don't
They
just
do.
go away. Like you get sore ribs, you got a cracked rib or something. Every time he gets hit in that rib, he's gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And with a rookie quarterback, you don't want him puncturing a lung with a broken rib of some sort. So, I think that they still went out and mollywopped the Panthers. But
Yeah.
hang on, let me look.
Mariota was doing it for him.
No, I know who. They've got their next few games are going to tell us a lot because right now their winning streak is against the Giants, dog shit. Bengals, not very good. Cardinals, not very good. Browns, not very good. They held the L against Baltimore, but that was a really good game in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And they beat the Panthers.
Look,
So,
that was their version of the Vikings Lions, where it's you lose the game, but man, they're for real. You know what I mean? That was
They
that was their
play-
validation.
their next 5, they play home against the Bears, at the Giants, home against the Steelers, at the Eagles, home against the Cowboys. There's a very strong possibility that the Commanders win the NFC East because the remaining schedule after that. Titans. I'm sorry, Cowboys. No, I said the Cowboys. They play the Titans, the Saints, the Eagles, the Falcons, and the Cowboys again. So
Yeah, they
there's a
could. I mean, look,
world.
I think they're
There's
gonna
a
win that
world.
division.
Dallas ain't winning it. It's going to be
No,
between
it's
them
gonna
and
be them
it's
and
going to be
Philly.
between them and
Them and
Philly and
Philly.
whoever
What are we
doesn't win
doing?
the division.
What is this
What?
show? What
I don't
is
know.
this show devolved into?
You got listen. You open you send
I
me down the
know.
rabbit hole and
Well,
you
it's a
ask.
fun conversation, and we will now end the show with this one simple question. As all Load the Box viewers know, I live in the Cincinnati area. Josh does as well. He's actually technically closer to Cincinnati than I am. So, Josh, are the Vikings better than the Cincinnati Bengals?
It's not close. Stop. Let's not do this. Let's not.
All
Let's
right.
not. I work in an office full of Bengals fans. We're not going to do this. The Vikings are clearly better than the
Yeah,
Bengals.
it's not very close.
Who have
But
the Bengals beat? Who have the Bengals beat this year?
not the Patriots.
No, hang on. Who have the Bengals beat this year? Let's go
Cleveland
through it.
without Deshaun Watson.
Cleveland with a ruptured Achilles, Deshaun Watson.
The
who
Giants without Malik Nabers, and it wasn't Pittsburgh. Who was the third one against? Did they play the Jags?
Nope.
Who was it?
The
They have
Panthers
Wow, just world beaters
in a
down here in
shootout.
Cincy-
Shootout,
Like it was
34
an
to
Andy
24.
Andy Dalton revenge game. But okay, look, we're over half an hour at this point. We're ending this. I've been Jelden. He's been Josh. This has been fun. A lot of NFL talk, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show was just because it's an outlet for us to talk about whatever. Yeah, tune in next week from our grades from the couch. Josh, I know you have a fun night of waiting until Thursday night for the new Call of Duty. Which, what a night for Josh and for all Vikings fans who like Call of Duty. Vikings take you right up to the midnight release of the new Call of Duty Black Ops game. Not sponsored, but, try out.
Could be.
Call me.
We could talk. We can
talk
call,
to
we
my
can call
people.
Activision.
Yeah, is that who's making this one?
It's Activision makes all of them, but it's Treyarch. But yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything, but okay. All right. Skull, y'all. We'll see you next week.